My brother Liam was the ultimate heartthrob. He had the quiet genius pining after him, the sweet childhood best friend looking out for him. Everyone around me would fall head over heels for him. He was the radiant moon that made my dull existence seem even more pathetic. They'd sneer. Milo? You're just gutter trash. Not even fit to lace your brother's shoes. Crushed by insecurity, I abandoned everything and transferred schools across town. Yet they came crawling back, clinging like desperate strays. The summer I turned 18 brought a new sibling into my life. Finn walked home with me that sweltering afternoon, handing me an ice-cold water bottle with his usual easy grin. Heard things are shaking up at your place? He remarked. I gulped the water dismissively. Same old, same old. But when I pushed through the faded kitchen curtain, crisp air conditioning slapped my sweaty face. Dad never splurged on utilities. A woman's melodic voice floated from the living room. All southern honey and magnolia blossoms. Her fashionable curls bounced as she sprang up to take my backpack. You must be Milo. Precious as a button. I stared at Dad's freshly dyed hair and uncharacteristically soft expression. Milo? Meet Sophia Clark. My backpack hit the floor with a crash. The kitchen door swung open. And suddenly our shabby apartment contained something priceless, a boy built like a young maple. Shoulders straight yet fluid. His coal-black eyes crinkled when our gazes met. That beauty mark under his left eye dancing as he nodded. Milo. September's wedding transformed our cramped living room into a concert hall. Liam's cello wept through Vivaldi, spotlights catching the marble planes of his profile. The applause could have shaken roof tiles. Through the crowd, he found me pressed against the wallpaper, fingers circling my wrist like silver bracelets. Brother. He smiled. All camera-ready charm. Let's make memories. School reopened with Liam holding court in my classroom. Our teacher introduced Liam from Magnolia Prep, like announcing royalty. His cursive name gleamed on the chalkboard as he bowed to thunderous clapping. They gave him the prime window seat where sunlight turned ordinary students golden. At lunch, Finn slid his chocolate milk toward me. You okay? I watched Liam's table erupt in laughter. 3 girls fixing his collar. The answer stuck in my throat like hard candy. The most important thing was that Tristan Lynn, the class's unattainable idol, sat there. Tristan remained the school's eternal legend, academically brilliant, wealthy, and devastatingly handsome. Though his family had donated 3 buildings to our campus, he'd never shown interest in anyone, maintaining his signature icy composure. Yet this aloof prince had finally acknowledged someone for the first time. He nodded at Liam and slid a pristine test paper across the desk. Do this. The sudden descent of our academic deity from his pedestal sent shockwaves through the classroom. During break, my corner desk, usually ignored, became surrounded by buzzing classmates. Chloe, my closest friend, blinked her doe eyes rapidly. Milo? Is he really your brother? Others clamored over her. Wivy, we never heard about him? Can I get his number? Asking for a friend. Liar. Give it to me instead. My face burned crimson under the sudden attention. Managing only stuttered replies. Before sharing any contact information, loud knuckles rapped my desk. I looked up into Xander's impatiently handsome face. He shouldered through the crowd, sprawling into the seat opposite me. That wild beauty arched a thick eyebrow. Milo. Tell me about this brother. Xander had been my secret crush since he'd kicked down a bathroom door years ago, scattering a dozen bullies who trapped me with filthy mop water. When I'd later asked why he helped, he'd simply shrugged, felt like it. My heart still raced remembering it. Now that same reckless hero leaned closer, amber eyes gleaming with interest. My fingers trembled slightly until another presence cut through the crowd. Liam, his tailored blazer emphasizing broad shoulders. Frost edged his delicate features as those rosebud lips parted. I dislike having my privacy violated. The classroom atmosphere curdled instantly. Whispers turned venomous. What kind of brother does that? They're step siblings, no wonder they hate each other. Liam's perfect. Must be so jealous. I stood drowning in their contempt, cold sweat trickling down my neck. No defense could penetrate this sudden onslaught of malice, the weight of their stares crushing my lungs. The boy who used to enjoy chatting with me, Chloe, glared at me while Xander stared impassively. And Liam, who caused all this, merely paused briefly before turning away. His life was like a spotlight. Wherever he went, people's gazes and affection followed. Meanwhile, I remained destined to be like some wretched sewer rat, forced to watch it all unfold. The malice directed at me kept escalating. First came test papers torn upon distribution. Then ink-stained backpacks. The harassment evolved until I found a disgusting dead rat in my desk drawer. Gripping its slimy tail, I threw the creature into the trash. Snickers rippled through the classroom. When I scanned the room, every face seemed innocently staring back with mocking eyes. Returning to my seat, I scrubbed my hands raw with disinfectant wipes. Even when my skin turned crimson, the nauseating sensation refused to fade. Finally I understood, while the rat's physical presence could be eliminated, the contemptuous stares clung like permanent stains. After school, for the first time, I sought out my childhood friend Finn. Walking our usual path home, I poured out my troubles beneath the amber streetlights. But when we paused under a flickering lamp, I suddenly noticed something alien in his eyes. The warmth that used to radiate from those familiar brown irises had been replaced by irritation and accusation. Irritation at my rambling. Accusation about my unfairness toward Liam. Milo? Finn said. I don't know when you became like this. The formal name stung. Liam's new here and sensitive. Can't you, as his brother, show some understanding? He called me Milo but used the affectionate nickname for Liam. In that moment, Finn felt like a stranger, as if our decade-long friendship had never existed. We'd sworn eternal friendship, vowed no force could change our bond. Yet here he stood, that handsome face twisted in disapproval, cataloging my failures for Liam's sake. You never wait for him after school. In class, you even let that outsider Tristan help him with math problems. And Xander? You allowed that dangerous guy near him. Each criticism sliced deeper until my heart felt shredded beyond recognition. Finn listed dozens of grievances before finally noticing my tear-filled eyes. My lips trembled as I whispered, Finn, you're supposed to be my best friend. How could even you side with Liam? But Finn merely frowned harder. Can't handle a little criticism? Do you have any idea how much pressure Liam faces daily? His voice grew harsher under the streetlight's glare before delivering the final blow. Milo, you're gutter trash. Not even fit to lick your brother's shoes. I stood freezing outside my house for 30 minutes, letting winter winds dry my tears before entering. The dim living room revealed Ben scowling over his newspaper while my stepmother clattered pots in the kitchen. Out gallivanting this late? My father snapped without looking up, viciously shaking his paper. The contemptuous snort that followed echoed Finn's words perfectly. All you do is hang around with riffraff. Why can't you be more like your brother? Liam happened to be passing by with warm milk, his steps slowing at the words as he smiled faintly, eyes crinkling. I deliberately avoided meeting his gaze. Dad, Ben, slammed down the newspaper, muscles bulging beneath his rolled-up sleeves. You dare ignore me now? The clatter brought Sophia rushing from the kitchen, wiping flour-dusted hands on her apron as she positioned herself between us. Maybe something happened earlier, she soothed, placing a restraining hand on Ben's arm before turning to me. Milo, why don't you take your milk to your room? Get some rest. I bit back tears, managing only a choked yeah before retreating across creaking floorboards. Liam's bedroom door stood shut like sealed lips holding poisonous secrets. He knew. He always knew. Yet those elegant hands remained immaculately clean. My own door clicked shut, trapping damp misery within these peeling walls. That damned glass of milk burned through my conscience, Sophia's kindness only magnifying my worthlessness. I hated Liam's icy perfection, yet couldn't resent this woman who'd arrived 18 years too late to mother me. Nails dug crescent moons into my wrist as I willed morning to come. Somewhere above, plumbing groaned like arthritic bones. Drip, drip, drip. The sound merged with soft footsteps that didn't belong to our house. Moonlight revealed a silhouette already inside my room. Crisp cotton shirt now twisted like a strangler's hands. That angelic face half devoured by shadows. Feverish eyes traced my body with serpentine hunger. Cold fingers interlaced with mine as a weight settled on the mattress. Brother, breathed a voice sweeter than poisoned honey. I thrashed against sleep's paralysis, sensing rather than feeling lips brush my nape. Morning found me exhausted, pajamas damp with nightmare sweat. My slippers lay kicked halfway across the room. Had I thrashed that violently? Before I could ponder, Sophia's knock came. Liam stood ready by the door, school blazer immaculate. Sunlight haloed his tousled chestnut hair. catching the beauty mark beneath his right eye, that tiny flaw magnifying his perfection. No wonder the entire school worshipped him. Even photons lingered longer on his golden skin. Leaving, mother? He announced without glancing my way. The door closed on Sophia's dismayed gasp. Young master forgot his medication again. She bit her lip, staring at the orange prescription bottle. I swallowed the last of my breakfast wrap. I'll take it, Sophia. The plastic vial burned hotter than that cursed milk glass. Let perfect Liam explain why his imperfect brother delivered antidepressants to school. For once, the shadows clinging to me might prove useful. Sophia Clark hesitated for a moment before finally nodding. I stood in the living room watching her retrieve a medicine pouch from the innermost corner of her bedroom. The pure black plastic bag was completely lightproof, its opening tightly knotted. This medication is crucial, she said, her gentle features twisting with uncharacteristic conflict. Milo, could you promise me something? Don't open it. Her voice dropped to a whisper. And don't let anyone else see it. I stared at her, suddenly seeing fragments of my long-deceased mother's face superimposed over hers. After a heavy silence, I nodded. Okay. The medicine pouch burned through my backpack fabric during the short walk to campus, its siren call more potent than Pandora's box. Every instinct screamed that these pills held Liam's last vulnerability, the sole chink in our campus golden boy's impenetrable armor. My pulse throbbed in my ears. Open it, something primal urged, and you could finally topple that untouchable throne. But Sophia's pleading expression surfaced through the haze. Unlike my volatile father Ben, she'd been the closest thing to maternal warmth I'd ever known. I crushed the bag in my fist until plastic seams bit into my palm, but kept it sealed. The classroom ambush came the moment I crossed the threshold. Freezing water cascaded from the doorframe, drenching me to the bone. Midwinter air crystallized the droplets on my skin as mocking laughter erupted. Through the haze of my dripping bangs, I saw Xander lounging at his usual desk, long fingers spinning a pen as he smirked at Liam. Look at our little drowned rat. Lee, he drawled, emphasizing the nickname like a private joke. Pathetic, isn't he? I spread through my chest cavity, sharper than the water soaking my sweater. Then a cool voice cut through the chatter. Excuse me. For one delusional heartbeat, I thought salvation had come. But Tristan simply repeated with frosty precision. Excuse me. You're blocking the aisle. I mechanically shuffled aside. The last ember of hope extinguished. Tristan took his seat beside Liam without sparing me a glance. Our eyes met across the room, Liam's gleaming with performative concern. Mine red-rimmed and desperate. Liam? I croaked through chattering teeth. We need to talk. The empty hallway amplified the squelch of my sneakers. Liam leaned against the lockers, immaculate as ever while I dripped brackish puddles at his feet. My knuckles turned bone white around the medicine pouch. Your prescription. I forced out, shoving the bag toward him without meeting his eyes. Liam gently took the paper bag when that bewitching voice suddenly spoke up. Big bro, did you check what's inside? I looked up, slowly meeting those obsidian dark eyes. In his gaze, I saw my own pathetic reflection, disheveled and laughable. I wiped my tears, glaring fiercely. Liam, I hate you. Yes, I hated Liam. Finally, I'd said it. I threw the medicine bag at him and bolted down the hallway. The deafening class bell crashed over me like physical pain. Teachers stared in shock as I barreled past. But I didn't care anymore. All I wanted was to outrun the mockery, the cruelty festering in our classroom. Before Liam transferred here, people merely ignored me. No one splashed dirty mop water on my uniform to impress others. No one left rotting food in my locker. Liam changed everything. My mind flashed scenes of him holding court in the cafeteria, how effortlessly everyone gravitated to him, indulging his every whim. Beauty in adolescence wielded terrifying power. Bullies wore their malice like crowns, while victims like me faded into invisibility. I slammed through the restroom door, locking myself in the farthest stall. The polished mirror showed my blotchy face and soaked clothes. Compared to Liam's effortless elegance, I was an ugly duckling destined for obscurity. The stall door rattled violently. Quit hiding, loser. We know you're in there. Without Xander's protection, the hyenas had returned. They yanked my hair, slamming my face into the sink. Bubbles rose as I choked on filthy water. Nobody's here to save you now. The bleached-haired leader sneered, hauling me up just before blacking out. They dunked me again, fingers digging into my neck. This time, I stopped struggling. Maybe drowning would... Hold up. The grip vanished. Through waterlogged ears, I heard panicked shuffling. Xander. We were just... Xander leaned against the doorframe, hands in pockets. No anger in those inkwell eyes. No comforting embrace. Just detached observation like watching stray cats fight. He said, "You're blocking the sink." The moment we stood in his way, my childhood hero shattered into nothingness. Xander didn't even glance at me as he walked past toward the restroom. The blonde guy spat on the ground and advanced with a twisted grin. I jolted awake from the nightmare. The sterile smell of antiseptic burning my nostrils. Hospital noises flooded my senses. Sophia slumped by my bed, eyes swollen from crying. Ben's temples had gained more silver strands, the lines around his mouth deeper. Liam was absent. For a heartbeat, I believed it had all been a bad dream, until I lifted my four-taped hand and saw the bruises. Milo? Sophia's tears fell faster when she noticed I was awake. "I'm so sorry." Ben turned away, jaw tight. So they'd known. Sunlight streamed through the window as I stared at my lap, shadows clinging to me like second skin. I whispered, "I want to transfer schools." Sophia nodded urgently, wiping her face. "Of course. Whatever you need." Ben's lips trembled, but he remained silent. They left me alone as night fell, adults swallowed by their own storms. I ripped out the 4 and walked home. Liam's bedroom door vibrated with shouts, Sophia's usually gentle voice now razor-sharp, glass shattering against walls. I closed my door, sealing out the chaos. 3 days later, Liam returned to school. I didn't. Ben drove me to a rusted apartment complex in my mother's hometown. Dust-coated chipped dishes and a faded photo on the wall showed a woman who mirrored my face. "Can you live here alone?" he asked. I nodded. He thrust a wad of bills at me, fleeing like I was contaminated. Alone. I climbed onto a stool to wipe the photograph. My reflection blurred in the glass as tears fell. The woman smiled eternally, our matching tragedy etched in bone structure. The situation remained equally pitiful. I didn't touch the money Ben gave me. Instead, digging out crumpled bills I'd saved myself. The amount was meager. I bought groceries and daily necessities. With the few remaining dollars, I visited an old barber shop. In the worn-down shop, the elderly barber draped the cape around me. "What style?" he asked. "Just something new," I replied. New was enough. I didn't need brilliance. Liam already embodied that blinding radiance. Yet when the barber removed the cape and made me face the mirror, my breath caught. At 18, I'd never been this emotionally fragile. But the reflection stunned me, a youth with newly cropped hair revealing downturned eyes shaped like peach petals, their melancholy beauty reminiscent of classical ink paintings. This wasn't the Milo people knew. He resembled fine porcelain, inherently fragile yet impossible to look away from. The barber whisked away the cape, scattering hair clippings. His wrinkles deepened with a grandfatherly smile. "Cheer up, son." He pressed the money back into my palm. "This one's on me." Carrying groceries, I trudged back to the dilapidated house. The cramped but cozy space made me wonder about my mother. Would she have been gentle like Sophia? Or bold like Finn's mom? The memory void offered no answers. That night, curled in my mother's former bed, I finally felt warmth. Dead asleep. I missed the phone blinking obsessively beside me, Liam's name flashing repeatedly until the screen died. Morning revealed the drained device. Frantic about being late, I sprinted to school. At the gates, I collided with a tall boy reeking of mint. Mumbling apologies, I kept my head down. He lingered, watching me retreat. Outside the chaotic classroom, hesitation froze me. Dark memories swirled like monsoon dampness. Then a shadow fell over mine, someone behind me. I flinched, expecting another public humiliation like Tristan sneering, "Move." From before. History seemed ready to repeat, the new kid already blocking someone's path. Even if I could start over, I'd still manage to be this irritating. My shoulders tensed as I shuffled sideways, murmuring like a trapped mosquito. "Sorry?" Cool fingers suddenly settled on my collarbones. A voice like mint-infused summer breeze brushed my ear. "No need to be afraid," Ethan said. "Come in. Everyone's waiting." When I looked up, I found eyes mirroring Tristan Lynn's jade, like composure, same sculpted features, same elegant arch of brows. Yet where Tristan's gaze carried winter frost, Ethan's held only calmness. No contempt. No revulsion. Just tranquil observation. His eyes crinkled suddenly, transforming that marble statue perfection into something breathtakingly alive. "Hi. I'm Ethan." His hand hung suspended between us. The classroom's cacophony died when Ethan escorted me inside. Standing by the chalkboard under 40 pairs of eyes, déjà vu gripped me until a petite girl squealed. "New kid alert." Her outburst shattered the tension. Suddenly I was surrounded by teenagers buzzing with curiosity. "You're the transfer student Mr. Lou mentioned? Must have been tough moving from another district. Let's exchange socials." Flushed pink, I opened my mouth only to have Ethan intercept. The boy shook his head at his classmates like scolding kittens. "We've got months ahead." His pointer finger tapped an invisible watch. Plenty of time for 20 questions later. Chastised yet cheerful. The crowd dispersed. "He's right, you're not escaping us." Someone laughed as the bell rang. My new desk flooded with afternoon sunlight, directly behind Ethan's perpetually straight posture. Through geometry proofs, I studied his silhouette, all lean angles and quiet grace like young bamboo. The stern homeroom teacher adjusted her half-frame glasses when summoning me later. "I'm aware of your previous difficulties." Her red pen scratched across test papers. "My students won't tolerate bullying. Come to me or Ethan if problems arise. He's your class monitor." Ethan waited outside the faculty office, textbooks already cradled in his arms. "Let's get your materials," he said, sunlight catching in his lashes as he turned. The hallway stretched ahead, our footsteps echoing in perfect sync. I nodded and thanked him, but as I watched his retreating figure, I couldn't help calling out, "Ethan, have we met before?" His footsteps faltered. The setting sun cast crimson halos across Ethan's slender silhouette. When he slowly turned, the dying light caught his smile. "We have," he said, "though it seems you've forgotten. We had indeed crossed paths once before, in one of those rare childhood memories that linger like fireflies. That summer when Ethan visited his grandmother, human traffickers snatched him. They brought him to buy cigarettes beneath my apartment building, where Finn and I happened to be getting popsicles. Even at that age, I recognized wrongness in how the rough-looking man manhandled the porcelain-skinned boy. No ugly brute could have produced something as exquisite as Ethan. While I sent Finn racing home to call the police, I threw myself at the kidnapper like a rabid squirrel. The man kicked me around like a sack of rice, but I clung to his leg like the brave protagonist from that season's hit cartoon Heroic Parker. Through split lips and budding bruises, I took comfort knowing Parker never cried during his battles. Yet when officers finally pried me loose, it was Ethan who sobbed uncontrollably in my arms. I limped home alone, arriving to my drunken father's sneer, "Always picking fights." His steel-toed boot caught my ribs as I crawled to wash dishes. The policeman later told me Ethan had returned to his family. That summer, Heroic Parker aired its finale, and with it died the last sparks of my childhood courage. Now Ethan stood haloed in sunset gold, saying you were brave, while I blinked through sudden tears. He glowed brighter than the dying sun itself, a cruel reminder that light still existed, though I'd long since retreated into shadows. "Thank you," I rasped, wiping my face, "for helping me remember the girl who once fought monsters." Those months in City C became rare sunlit patches in life's gray tapestry. Neighbors who'd known my grandparents showered me with garden tomatoes and awkward pats. "Look how you've grown." Classmates shared notes and lunchbox cookies. Even teachers smiled when I correctly answered questions. Finn still trailed me like a loyal golden retriever, though his new habit of bringing first aid kits to school spoke volumes. The boy who'd once fled from bullies now intercepted thrown punches with his own face. "Gotta protect my best investment." He grinned through split lips, as if my college fund excused his recklessness. Their academic performance wasn't as strong as our previous class, but everyone seemed genuinely happy. The first girl who greeted me was Chloe Peters. After we became friends, she brought over a stack of romance graphic novels and pointed at the beautiful male character on the cover. "You look just like him," she said. I glanced down at the illustration: jet black hair, crescent-shaped eyes, porcelain skin glowing with health. The character radiated multicolored halos as if basking in the admiration of countless followers. He actually resembles Liam more than me, I told her. My brother's the real heartthrob. The manga's title flashed in gold foil, The Charmer. Chloe shook her head vehemently, ponytail swishing. Not him. Her smile mirrored the sunny warmth from our first meeting. Roses don't bloom overnight, and cygnets need time to become swans. We all trudged through silent childhoods, messy adolescences, countless days tangled between darkness and light before becoming our true selves. Her words left me speechless. She dashed off with her manga before I could respond, leaving me to ponder her philosophy. Walk home together? I turned to find Ethan leaning against the lockers. Summer uniform crisp against his fair complexion, every inch the protagonist from a coming-of-age film. His family's Maybach always waited discreetly 3 blocks from campus, though he wore his privilege with unassuming grace. Still, the effortless elegance in his gestures reminded me painfully of Liam, and Tristan, and Finn. But now, the old bitterness didn't surface. Do you know Tristan? I asked. Cousin? Ethan answered casually, adjusting his bookstrap. We spent summers at Grandma's estate. Kid used to copy everything I did. The statement conjured images of Liam, that same casual arrogance veiled beneath apparent indifference, so unlike my own guarded nature. After parting ways with Ethan, I took the long route home alone. I'd stopped waiting for Finn after transferring schools. He'd finally gotten his wish to dote on Liam full-time, leaving no room for someone ordinary like me. Yet as I neared the alley's dim mouth, a familiar silhouette materialized. Finn stood trembling under the street lamp, eyes bloodshot and wild. Milo, he choked out, lunging forward before I could flee. He trapped me against graffiti-stained bricks, arms shaking yet unyielding. The citrus cologne scent I'd memorized over countless shared bus rides now carried traces of antiseptic and exhaustion. His ragged breath warmed my ear as he whispered, "Please?" with desperate precision. Each syllable a carefully placed landmine in the space between us. Milo? Milo? I can't let you go. My fingers accidentally brushed against his, finding his skin ice cold. The usually composed Finn Murphy seemed like a different person now, clinging to me desperately despite my struggles. I slapped him coldly across the face. Have you lost your mind, Finn? The blow seemed to stun him into releasing me. Wiping my hands with tissues Ethan had given me earlier, I glared with undisguised revulsion. First you couldn't stand the sight of me, then threw tantrums when I left? Those 15 years of friendship? I admit I was blind. Consider us square now. Stop haunting me. Understood? Recent experiences had steeled me. Facing Finn now, I felt none of my old vulnerability. He stared like I was a stranger. You've changed, Milo. Changed? I laughed bitterly. Would you rather I stayed that pathetic girl who danced to your tune? Our childhood bond meant less to you than some fleeting new connection. My words hit like physical blows. You don't deserve to call yourself my friend. Finn stood frozen. Still in his wrinkled school uniform, probably rushed here from the neighboring city. But seeing his bloodied clenched fist stirred no sympathy, only relief. The wind snatched the tissue from my hand, severing our last fragile tie. I walked away without hesitation. If our past ever meant anything, don't follow. Returning home, I found the factory reset phone I'd broken during my transfer. Even after repairs, all contacts were erased, including Liam's and family numbers. Had Liam known Finn would come? The mere thought of Liam disrupting my life again made me block him immediately. But fate had other plans. At the grocery store, childhood friend Xander materialized like a storm. Before I could retreat, he seized my wrist, his usual polished appearance replaced by overgrown hair and stubble. Milo. He practically shook me. What the hell are you hiding here for? I wrenched free, meeting his frantic gaze with icy calm. The days of cowering before these men were over. Xander Brooks. I transferred schools. What the hell are you transferring for? He snapped angrily, grabbing my wrist with a grip like molten iron. Didn't I just give you space for a few days? Was getting bullied so unbearable you had to run here? So what if they hit you? I'll teach you to fight back. He tried dragging me toward the exit. Come on. You're coming back with me. I stumbled as he yanked me forward. A bitter laugh escaped me. Go back with you. Xander? What for? You've got Liam now. He's perfect. Why would you need a third wheel like me anymore? Xander's face darkened. That's not what I meant. His lips trembled before he choked out. Milo? I can't function without you. Months ago, those words might have made my heart flutter. Now they left me numb. I studied his face, still ruggedly handsome beneath the stubble, yet suddenly foreign. The hero I'd idolized was just a coward. That life-saving silhouette I'd fixated on? It could have been anyone. Xander fished me from drowning only to push me deeper. My fist collided with his jaw before I realized I'd swung. The shock in his eyes was almost comical. Guess he never thought the docile rabbit would bite. I massaged my reddened wrist, waving toward the security guard who'd been teaching me self-defense these past few months. Take your delusions elsewhere, Xander, I said coldly as the guard escorted him toward the police station. After walking several blocks, I pulled my hood up and paused in an empty alleyway. You can come out now. Tristan emerged from the shadows, storm clouds in his eyes. You spotted me. From the apartment window? I confirmed. Wind tousled his jet black hair, but his glacial expression remained unmoving. The resemblance to Ethan struck me suddenly. Tristan? We're strangers? I said. Why stalk me here? His pressed lips parted. Summer. Convenience store. Rescue. The fragmented phrases unlocked a memory. Children huddled in a trafficking den years ago. Ethan hadn't been the only captive. The silent boy trembling in the corner, that was Tristan. When I finally spoke, my voice felt detached. That was nothing. Forget it. After saying that, I tried to step around him onto another path, but Tristan blocked me completely. He murmured urgently, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I knew he was referring to his indifferent behavior toward me in class earlier. I looked up, studying Tristan's striking features carefully. This unattainable idol truly lived up to his reputation as someone everyone admired. Even his apology felt condescending. Curving my lips into a smile, I sidestepped him again. It's fine. I never cared anyway. A Maybach had been parked silently in the distance for some time. The window rolled down to reveal Ethan's impassive face illuminated by neon signs. The shifting colors made his gaze strangely captivating as he looked at me. Let's go, he said. I nodded and slid into the car, unaware of the glacial stare he briefly directed at Tristan before we drove off. As the night air streamed past, I asked Ethan, why were you here? He glanced up from the test papers spread across his lap, his wristwatch glinting under the dashboard lights. Just passing through, he replied with a faint smile. I suddenly noticed he'd changed clothes. The Ethan in daylight felt different from this version, more reserved, with weariness shadowing his dark eyes. The passing streetlights carved aristocratic aloofness into his features. I shouldn't disturb you, then, I said instinctively. He chuckled. He canceled all his plans tonight just to ambush you. Why not disappear completely instead? After a moment's hesitation, I agreed. Ethan took me to an exclusive country club, its opulent facilities clearly designed for the wealthy elite. When he reappeared in racing gear, I barely recognized him. I sat frozen, staring up at Ethan. The jet black firesuit emphasized his broad shoulders and long legs, the tailored fabric hinting at coiled power beneath. Strands of his dark hair fell across his forehead, softening nothing about his severe expression. The usual mildness had vanished, replaced by something dangerous that vanished the instant our eyes met. Follow me, he said with a tilt of his head. I pressed my lips together and trailed him through multiple secured gates until we reached a mountain pass. Sleek race cars crouched nearby, one leaning against a Lamborghini. A coldly handsome young man straightened when he saw us. Ethan, he greeted, then softened his tone upon noticing me. Hey there. Ethan's gaze turned blade sharp. Weren't there challengers tonight? The guy clicked his tongue. Some hotshots from the neighboring city. Kept demanding to race you specifically. Ethan said, then let them come. The young man chuckled. They've already invited themselves. Look over there. He gestured toward the opposite end of the corridor where several figures approached. Even if they weren't conventionally attractive, years of privilege had given them an air of decadence. Yet my gaze immediately locked onto the one leading the pack. Liam. My eternal nightmare. The shadow that never left. Liam closed the distance, his plush lips curving when our eyes met. Brother. He stood motionless, emotions flickering in his dark irises like fireworks, sporadic bursts of light masking something far more volatile. Something that made my palms sweat before I forced them to relax. Liam. He leaned in, breath grazing my earlobe. You cut your hair. The obsidian depths of his eyes mirrored my wariness. Suddenly he laughed, hands clamping my shoulders. Brother, do you know how to street race? Of course I didn't. Unlike Liam, who'd inherited enough generational wealth to burn through lifetimes, I was painfully ordinary. Admitting inadequacy publicly felt like skinning myself alive, laying every raw insecurity bare. The old me would have crumbled. But tonight, I smiled into the mountain breeze, lightness threading my voice. No, I don't. Liam's fox-like eyes widened, genuine surprise breaking through before his grin sharpened. What a shame. His thumb brushed my collarbone. Now I think I like you even more. Ethan suddenly tossed his keys to a bystander. He stepped between us, shoulders squared against Liam. Weren't we here to race? His voice dropped to a challenge. You versus me. Engines roared to life on the winding roads. The acrid scent of burnt rubber hung thick as tension crackled through the crowd. Someone muttered, "Haven't seen Ethan go this hardcore in years," while another shook his head. That Liam's insane, mediocre skills but drives like he's got a death wish. I didn't understand racing jargon or the technicalities they debated. I just stood at the cliff's edge, watching headlights slash through the darkness like colliding meteors. They were racing for me. Ethan's motives were obvious. He'd always been decent. But Liam? Why would Liam ever fight for someone like me? I watched the blood-red sports car hurtle around the mountain pass like a runaway comet, tires screeching as it drifted toward me. The sight suddenly reminded me of the first time I'd met Liam Carter. Back then, he'd extended his hand with practiced charm, though the aristocratic grace in his movements betrayed his privileged upbringing. My stepmother, rumored to be an opera singer, had clearly schooled him well. But this kind of refinement couldn't be bought cheaply. I later learned Liam's biological father was some tycoon who'd polished his heir to perfection over decades. Which made me wonder, why would someone like Liam settle for being the Lynn family's son? And why would a woman of his mother's caliber choose my father? When I'd asked her once, she'd merely chuckled. Because Liam adores you, she'd said, adding, and your father, he's remarkably devoted in relationships. I'd clung to that second part, willfully ignoring the first. Liam liking me? The red demon of a car executed a final screeching drift before stopping abruptly. The door flew open to reveal Liam staggering out, a crimson trail snaking down his temple from a forehead wound. The blood did nothing to diminish his striking features. His eyes locked onto mine, burning with an intensity that startled me, a feral, almost unhinged glow. For the first time, I truly looked into those feline eyes that usually sparkled with crescent moon charm when he smiled. Now they revealed something darker. Primal. Love. Yes. But the kind that swallows whole forests in its wildfire. I nodded for Liam to approach. Ethan Mitchell's concerned gaze flickered our way, but I shook my head slightly. Adrenaline still coursed through Liam's veins from the race. Pupils dilated with lingering excitement as we moved to a secluded spot. Do you have feelings for me, Liam? The question hung between us like a lit fuse. His blood-smeared face broke into a radiant smile. Of course, brother, he purred, the endearment twisting into something possessive. Did you really need this long to notice? His breath ghosted over my cheek as he closed the distance. Those nights I clung to you just to sleep? The months you were gone? A manic edge crept into his laughter. I nearly lost my mind. When his fingers brushed my wrist, I shoved him hard. This confirmation brought no relief, only dread. You knew about the bullying. It wasn't a question. Liam tilted his head, smile intact. I asked Xander to stand down. You hate meddling, don't you? The isolation. Who needs crowds when you have me? And Finn's insults? His grin turned saccharine. A little psychological nudge never hurt. Did we really need a childhood friend lingering around? Every admission hit like a body blow. I finally snapped, hands slamming against his chest to force space between us. The blood on his face seemed less an injury now and more a war paint, marking him as the architect of this emotional siege. Liam Carter, you psycho. Love as an excuse, yet brimming with utter arrogance. I shoved Liam aside, his head cracking against the wall as fresh blood streamed down. I stared coldly at him. If this is what you call love, it only makes me sick. Without hesitation, I turned to leave. Before I'd taken 3 steps, a sharp slap echoed behind me. Liam had struck himself hard across the face. His porcelain skin now bore an angry red mark as he knelt on the floor, tears mixing with manic laughter. "Brother," he choked out. "Brother, remember when I asked if you knew what those pills were?" He scooped fistfuls of dirt cake tablets from his pockets, cramming them into his mouth like sacraments. "These," he grinned through tears, "were my meds at the psychiatric ward. Milo, I can't survive a single day without you." Liam was insane. Literally. Diagnosed with severe mental disorders. After pumping his stomach at the ear, I called my stepmother. The line hung heavy before her weary voice emerged. "Milo? I'm sorry. It's fine." And it was. We'd never cross paths again. She promised to take Liam elsewhere for treatment, to keep him chained to her watch. Maybe I believed her. Maybe not. Either way, come spring, I'd resume martial arts training with the security guard. Evil never triumphs. Dawn broke as Ethan and I left the hospital. The rising sun gilded skyscrapers and alleyways alike, its newborn rays illuminating the city's fresh billboard. A dark-haired anime boy smiled beatifically under bold lettering. "Roses aren't born roses. Swans don't hatch as swans." We trudged through muted childhoods, chaotic adolescences, countless days tangled between light and shadow. Only then do we become ourselves. May you cross mountains and seas to find rebirth. Epilogue. Old Liam clutched the photograph like rosary beads, wheelchair-bound yet ferocious. "My beloved," he crooned to indifferent nurses. The once formidable businessman remained. Core. That same asylum patient. Until the day the nurse announced, "Liam, you have a visitor." He froze, crumpling the photo against his chest. "Oh." Voice cracking. "Is it Milo?" "It's me." The visitor placed down the bouquet and sat across from him. The kitchen door slid open. "Milo is dead." Liam froze. "But soon." Wild excitement lit his eyes. "Well, did he curse my name with his last breath?" "His hatred proves he loved me. His love is all that matters." Ethan cut him off cleanly. "He died peacefully. No forgiveness. No curses. We healed each other. 10 years of devotion mended his wounds. His final years were joyful. In those last moments, he clutched my hands and said, 'Ethan, I hope we meet again in our next life.'" Liam's eyes bulged, his faded beauty twisting into wretched despair. Ethan spoke softly. "Love isn't about control, Liam. You lost your way completely." He turned to leave. Behind him, Liam's howls echoed through the sanitized halls, the same primal anguish Ethan had heard from Xander years ago when the musician smashed his guitar outside the courthouse. From Finn when the childhood friend drunkenly confessed his regrets. From Tristan when the businessman tore up divorce papers with trembling hands. Each man had crumpled upon learning of Milo's death. Each performed their theatrics of remorse. But scars outlast storms. Ethan's aged fingers brushed the white camellia pin to his lapel. Pale sunlight filtered through distant mountains, carrying the gentle melancholy that had always lingered in Milo's gaze. A sigh drifted across the empty courtyard. "Until next time, my love." The iron gates of Green Valley Mental Hospital clanged shut behind Ethan. Somewhere beyond the pines, spring blossoms trembled in the wind.